Hello, this is my cat. It's getting a little excited. I'm starting a fast as of today. Yesterday at around 5 p.m. I had my last meal. I made it a good, decent sized salad with some fish and some more protein, like some skyr as well, like the yogurt type thing. And my plan is to see my plan is to see how long I manage to go. Hopefully, the longest fast previously that I've done. Great timing. Alexa, stop. The longest fast that I've done previously has been about 48 hours, and now I'm hoping to get to 72 hours. So I woke up this morning with good energy and spent about an hour and a half working. Well, what I call work. It's basically administrative stuff here on my desk treadmill. And then I had a coffee and watched the news. And yeah, currently I'm feeling ready to start the day in earnest. Well, I already did. Just went for a bike ride. I'm having my second cup of coffee. That's my little niece with their dinosaurs. So far, feeling pretty good. Not too hungry, so keep on going. It's now noon, and I'm having my third coffee. Still feeling good. Not really hungry. Spent another hour on the treadmill, and I'm ready to take out the bike. And it's about a 20-minute bike ride to the gym.
Horses!
I'm back again. I just returned from the gym. I spent about an hour on the bike, so it's like 25 minutes getting there, 20 minutes on the stationary bike, and another 24 minutes or so getting back. And that brings my total of time that I was on the bicycle to just about 2 hours. I also walked for 2 hours at first, and then another hour and a half, so 3.5 hours of walking. And I could already feel to some extent in the gym that I couldn't perform at my maximum ability. I did weighted pull-ups with 22 kilos of weight and some squats. And especially with the squats, I noticed that when I'm normally able to do, say, 6 repetitions, now I was only able to do about half. Like, had I pushed it, maybe I could have done a bit more. But with the with the fact that I might be already depleting my glycogen stores to some extent, and that I still have a long ways to go when it comes to fasting, I don't want to push myself too hard and crash later on. So yeah, there's plenty of exercise still ahead of me. I didn't want to exert myself entirely. I am actually starting to feel hungry right now. So I had 2 cups of tea. Nothing in there, just herbal tea actually, because I'm already at 300 milligrams of caffeine intake, and I know that if I have any more at this time of day, I'm probably gonna have issues sleeping. I'm somewhat caffeine sensitive, so I added some salt to my tea to replenish my electrolytes and hopefully quench my hunger to some extent. Sometimes you become hungry just because you're low on salt, and I'm probably shedding some water weight now and dropping sodium. When you start fasting, first thing to go is sodium and water. That goes away with the burning of the glycogen. It's now 5 p.m. I've officially crossed the 24-hour milestone, and after 4 cups of tea with salt, I feel I'm doing pretty well. I'm not super energetic. I would have probably continued moving gravel in the backyard, but after one wheelbarrow full, it started raining. So I'm just chilling here now with Bendy. It's now 6 p.m. and it's getting a little bit more difficult to stay on task. I'm thinking about food a lot more, and I've been tempted to like research if I'm allowed to have a small piece of dark chocolate or like some peanut butter to quench those uh, inner thoughts with food. As you can see behind me, I had another 2 cups of, one was decaf coffee and one was tea with some salt. I kind of wish I would have measured out the salt I've been using to know if I'm on track, since I read that it's necessary to have a bit more than I initially thought. You're supposed to have 1.5 to 2 teaspoons, which is between 4 and 7 grams of salt is the general recommendation from most sources. It's currently just about 7 p.m. That means I'm 26 hours into fasting approximately. I did some breath work because I was feeling like my energy wasn't all there, and that revitalized me to some extent. Like I could hop back on the treadmill right now and walk a little bit more. Maybe I will. I was curious how my ketones were doing, so I took the tests with the ketone strips. It seems that they're rather low, which is somewhat surprising since I've done fasting before. At one point in my life, I've done like a 6-month period with alternating only eating fats and proteins, so like a ketogenic diet, but a modified one where you do get to do refeeds on the weekends. So I would have expected to be more easily fat adapted and to have like higher ketone levels early on in this process, but they generally really start ramping up around the 48-hour mark. So good morning. It's currently 6:30 a.m. I woke up an hour ago. Couldn't go back to sleep. I weighed myself. Oh yeah. I'm down about a kilo 0.3. I weighed myself with my phone, so it deducts like 200 grams. And I'm feeling quite decent. I'm not particularly hungry, although I do keep having fantasies of sorts sometimes of eating, but it's still negligible as compared to what I know from previous fasts, where I can get obsessed with food. So far, it's still very manageable. So I'm feeling good. I don't immediately feel the need to drink coffee, so I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer. I'm gonna jump on the treadmill soon. And yeah, that's my updates for now. Going strong. It's currently 8 a.m. I had my first coffee a little bit ago on my treadmill over here, and it's getting a little bit tougher in the sense that my stomach's growling. I'm trying to keep my mind distracted, but I did read that for most people the hardest part of the fast is generally the first 24 to 48 hours, because your body is shifting its metabolism from glucose to ketones. And I'm gonna have some salt water again soon, try and keep my electrolytes balanced. Currently it's 11:30 a.m. I peed on this little stick at 10 a.m. and just again now. It's well into purple territory now, which seems to indicate around 30, is it milligrams per deciliter? Can't recall what's the quantity for ketones. I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, it seems I'm well into fat burning territory now, which is very nice to know. The fact that whenever you pee, it's basically fat that you're, unused fat, unburned fat that you're peeing out. So there's always more ketones being generated than what you need. Did I touch myself? There's always more ketones being generated, so the excess is what you pee out, and ketones are derived from your fat, your adipose tissue. So it's just a good feeling knowing that you're truly in fat burning mode. I just spent about an hour moving material from one side of the garden to the other. I'm moving gravel, like I'm redoing this part over here, and I'm also digging a trampoline over there, so I'm moving dirt one way and then gravel the other. Still a lot of work to do, but I'm feeling good. I think I'm gonna take a small break now and then maybe do a push-up challenge even. I'm curious to see how my strength does with this fast. And I've read that it's also beneficial to do at least some strength exercise in order to not lose muscle, because the body's gonna basically use whatever material or whatever macronutrients are most easily available. It should be fat right now, but if you don't exercise, it might be tempted, even though within 72 hours it's not supposed to be a major source. But I'm kind of curious just to see how many I can get. So yeah, it's up next. It's currently 3 p.m. That means I'm going 40, yeah, actually 46 hours fasted. I just did a breath work, so I'm a little bit calm, a little bit lightheaded. I tried standing up and got a little woozy, but it felt very relaxing. If you haven't tried breathwork, I recommend that you try it. I'm feeling quite good. Before the breathwork, I was starting to feel a dip. I've been putting off my challenge to do push-ups because of that reason. But yeah, now I feel like I'm ready to try. In fact, I recall seeing a video at some point where the claim was made that if you do breathwork before push-ups or physical exertion, that you might perform better somehow. So now we're kind of, perhaps mixing the effects of the fasting with the breathwork, but you can always do another set tomorrow and see how it compares. So yeah, get ready. Here's some interesting facts you may not know about fasting. First of all, fasting triggers a significant increase in growth hormone. This hormone plays a crucial role in maintaining muscle mass and in promoting fat loss. In terms of muscle preservation, fasting doesn't necessarily lead to muscle loss. Actually, it's possible to even gain muscle thanks to the boosting growth hormone. However, this is a lot more feasible in shorter fasts. The reason being that during longer fasts, you have too much of a caloric deficit to catch up to. Another interesting fact about fasting is that it can make your metabolism a lot more efficient. You might have heard people talking about their metabolic age, which is basically a measure of how your metabolism stacks up against people of different age groups. Fasting can improve things like insulin sensitivity, and it can also reduce inflammation. This makes your body's metabolic functions more youthful and efficient. Let's also talk about what fasting can do for fat loss. Growth hormone not only helps protect your muscle mass, it also plays a huge role in breaking down fat, especially stubborn belly fat. In fact, some studies suggest that fasting could lead to more fat loss than just cutting your calories daily. For example, there was a study comparing intermittent fasting to daily caloric restriction, and it found that while both groups lost weight, those who fasted lost more fat, particularly around the belly. So if you're looking to lean out, fasting could be a powerful tool. So I did about 60 push-ups, which doesn't quite reach normally. On a good day, I would get 67. So, I mean, considering I haven't been eating for 2 days, it's not all that bad. But yeah, it's not a PR either. I just completed now another round of sports. It's currently already 7:30 p.m. I breezed through the 5 p.m. 48 hours fast milestone pretty easily. I was just sipping on some herbal tea with salt, and being occupied, I was in a meeting with a friend from Canada and business partner / friend. So time just passed by really quickly, basically. And now I'm at a little park and did some handstands and dips and stuff like that. I didn't go all out, but overall, I must say my strength is actually quite decent. If you would like to know what breathwork track I use on YouTube, I use a 45 minutes. The one I just did was a 45 minutes kind of Wim Hof type situation. And the one I normally get really good results with is, I think you pronounce it Eliza and Blair. Yeah, look in the comments below and I'll put some links there. let me all oxygen brain. Also, let me know what you think of them for your personal use. Um, for me, they've been very, very helpful. So thank you to the creators of those as well. If you would like to see more this type of content, please follow the link at the bottom of your screen and enjoy. So yeah, here I lost about a kilo of weight from one day to the other. It's currently 11 a.m. I woke up at 7 a.m. having had a decent night's sleep. And I have to say, I'm fasting. By now, I've been fasting longer than I ever have, and it's also the easiest fast I've ever done. I suppose that it might help to do fasting regularly in order to become more easily fat adapted, like your metabolism likely switches more easily to using ketones. So that might be one of the reasons that it's so easy now, because previously I've had like headaches and very low energy and lightheadedness and things like that. This time around, I still feel energetic. I just did an hour again on the walking treadmill as I was doing some research and checking out other videos of people fasting. And yeah, I don't feel the need to eat. My stomach has been growling a bit, but I don't actually feel hungry. One of the benefits that I've noticed so far is that my nose is usually stuffy. At least on one side, it's entirely clogged most of the time, but now I'm breathing way better. It's, it's not 100% open, but it's way better than it normally is. Normally, no air enters from usually it's my right nostril. And I suppose that has to do with the fact that I might have leaky gut, which is causing all kinds of issues like inflammation in my body. I believe that maybe I'm intolerant to one of the foods that I generally eat, and it's been very difficult to do exclusion diets and get the same results. So fasting, if you have issues with like stuffy nose or fatigue or other signs of inflammation in your body, you might want to consider doing a water fast for say 2 or 3 days and then introducing foods again. So I'm gonna get started pretty slowly with bone broth is the idea, since that's supposedly very good to get the gut ramping up again slowly and building like a protective layer again, so you can introduce more regular foods again. I'm maybe gonna stay away from grains in the beginning, maybe nightshades also, like the foods that might be triggering for inflammation. I'll try to keep those to a minimum and exclude them entirely at the start when I start eating again, when I break the fast. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So thanks for following along so far, by the way. I had some decent energy levels at this time, so I decided to move some more gravel around. And increased energy is one of the primary benefits of fasting and one of the primary reasons that I decided to try for 3 days. Usually one has more mental clarity and energy because of the increased hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. From an evolutionary perspective, it's thought that when food was scarce, it was advantageous for humans to be mentally sharp and to have more energy to find food. So this response could be a survival mechanism. For me personally, reason number 2 is to improve autoimmune issues and gut health. Fasting can help manage autoimmune systems and provide relief from gastrointestinal conditions by allowing the digestive system to rest. Another great reason to fast is, of course, reducing fat, and especially visceral fat can be heavily influenced by fasting. You can get rid of it much easier. And this would reduce the risk of diabetes and cancer. So if you have a backyard and you have any pending chores, I'd really recommend that as a light form of exercise. Just keep the heart rate up and don't go overboard with pushing yourself, because then you can crash. But yeah, it's a good idea to do something that requires a certain amount of effort at least. Fasting can free up a lot of time when you need a productivity boost. You don't have to buy food, cook food, or even chew for that matter. It also reduces food and sugar cravings. Now I have a bit of a sweet tooth. I'm addicted to protein bars. Oh, there goes the camera. I'm addicted to protein bars, dark chocolates, along with my coffee. I guess the combination of it just, triggers something in my brain. But fasting helps stabilize blood sugar levels and reduces insulin spikes that can decrease cravings for sugary foods. It also resets the hunger hormones like ghrelin and leads to fewer cravings for unhealthy foods. Another reason for me personally to fast was to increase mental fortitude and to challenge myself. Fasting can enhance mental toughness by pushing you to overcome discomfort and resist the urge to eat. The practice not only strengthens self-discipline, but also encourages mindfulness as you become aware of your body's true hunger signals versus habitual eating patterns. It's now 4 p.m. I'm at the 70 hours mark and I'm about to reach my goal. However, I was going to try the push-ups, but I feel like I'll need a little bit of rest right now. Energy levels are slightly down, although I'm feeling quite good, but yeah, I am looking forward very much to having some bone broth. It's starting to weigh on me somewhat. All right, so here's a little test to see if you paid attention during the first push-up video. Question number 1, what are the functions of growth hormone? If you answered anything but it helps maintain muscle mass and promote fat loss, you should probably go back and revise this video again. Question number 2, fasting improves something and reduces something in your body. What are those two things? Number 1 is it improves insulin sensitivity, and number 2, it reduces inflammation. Here's a bonus question. Why would you want to be more insulin sensitive? Well, it's primarily because your body would have to produce less insulin to get the desired effect. The desired effect being to get glucose from the blood into the cells. Insulin signals an excess of energy, and if this hormone is present in the blood, it prevents your body from breaking down fat, particularly stubborn fat, to use for energy. In other words, being more insulin sensitive allows you to lose fat more easily. My apologies for the difference in lighting between this video and the next one. I was trying to show the difference in fat. I ideally would have used calipers, but didn't have those at my disposal. So here's me pulling at my skin for the illustration. Also, I started at 24 hours. I should have started before, but now for some food. Breaking your fast, especially the longer ones, is quite important in the sense that you want to select the right foods and you also want to keep the portions under control to make sure that you don't get too stuffed. Since your stomach might have shrunk somewhat, it's easy to overeat, especially, once you start eating. This happened in my case also. I ate a little bit, bone broth mainly with some vegetables, and then I had some shrimp, just get my proteins in, and I ended up overeating somewhat and then felt some discomforts. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with the way my fast turned out. And here I am enjoying a bowl of, it doesn't look all too appetizing, but if you fast for this long, basically anything you're gonna eat is gonna taste great. Now the only thing left to do is to revise the results before and after. As I mentioned, I didn't make a video before I started the experiment, but here you go with the 24 hours compared to 72 hours. And I think I lost a decent amount of fat without affecting muscle mass too much. Next time if I run this experiment, I would like to get a full body scan to get a bit more precise measurements, make this whole thing a bit more scientific. But I mean, by the looks of it, I don't know what you think, but I feel like I lost more fat than I did muscle, proving the theory that fasting is beneficial for muscle maintenance. Thank you for watching. If you want to know how I do with a 4-day fast and a 5-day fast, which I plan to do, Those will be water and caffeine fasts. I'm also planning to do a pure water fast at some point, and perhaps even a dry fast, but not as long, obviously. It's more challenging and more risky to the system. So if you want to see those, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you found any value in this video, please consider liking it. And also, if you know anyone who would benefit from fasting, say to, they're always low on energy, they have a stuffy nose all the time, consider sending them this video in case it might be useful to them. Thanks again, and I hope to see you again sometime. Check out these other videos that I'll add here.